18 years ago, I felt like my dream came true when I got to keep doing retail, but to do it for a company whose mission and values matched my own personal values. And so over those last 18 years, I can tell you there are so many conferences I've been to, or store trips, or vacations, when someone finds out that I work for REI, the first thing they say to me is, I'm a member. Here's my member number, or this is my local store. That pride that customers have about being a member is something really unique and special. So you can imagine 2 years ago when we were in search of a new CEO, the pressure and the importance our board had to fill that step, fill those shoes, and make sure that we had a leader who really understood that specialness, cultivated it, and took us to a new place. So I'm thrilled to have Jerry here with us. Jerry Strizke is our new CEO. He's been with us for 18 months. And he has brought incredible passion for the outdoors, passion for our members, and passion for our employees. He also has an incredible vision of what great retailing looks like, and a sense of urgency, which was also really exciting for us. But most of all, this insatiable appetite for change. And we've heard that today. You can't just sit on your laurels or say this is good. You have to change. And he has what he calls learning agendas and constant change. I think we have 100 initiatives, but very, very exciting things going on. So it's been a pleasure over the last 18 months to partner with Jerry. Our organization has gone through some great evolution, and all of our employees are so excited about the way that we're moving forward. He's unlocking with us the power of not just being a great retailer, but really capturing our customers' love for our brand. So with that, we're going to start off with a small video about who we are.
We've heard from some great retailers today. I just love hearing the stories. It was kind of special to hear from some owner-founders and just that passion that often accompanies the starting or the birth of an amazing organization. So I've just really enjoyed listening to the presentations today. It's unusual for me to have the opportunity to speak to retailers. Often speaking either in the outdoor industry, to our associates, to other audiences. And I have to say that I've been fortunate to have just kind of a charmed experience as a retailer. I spent 5 years as the CEO of Mast Industries, which really served some amazing retailers. From Abercrombie, it was a global sourcing company, worked with Abercrombie & Fitch, Diesel, Victoria's Secret, and probably 20 or 30 other great world-class specialty retailing companies. It was a great place to kind of be introduced to the industry. Wexner then recruited me, along with Sharon Turney, to co-lead Victoria's Secret. And that was kind of an inspirational experience. And then went from there to New York City, where I had a chance to work with Lou Frankfurt at Coach for 6 years. Now you might imagine, and I can tell you that every associate at REI was imagining, luxury handbags, New York City, Coach, Seattle, outdoor industry, outdoor gear, a little scary. One of the conundrums you get when you come back into the retail industry is, what do you wear? I have a closet full of Italian suits. But I will tell you, my concession was these are Italian shoes. So I don't know if you can see them, but they're just boots. So I'm thrilled to be here this morning. I have to say that as I began to make this journey, I actually made the phone call to REI when I heard that my predecessor, Sally, was really moving up to join President Obama's staff as the Secretary of Interior. And I wanted to explore the idea of combining my lifelong passion for the outdoors with retailing and brand building that I had grown to love and appreciate so much. But I have to tell you, a question in my mind is, what does it mean to lead a co-op versus a publicly traded company? What does it mean when 88% of your sales are to members versus kind of being in that open market and dealing with customers in a very different way? What does it mean to be part of a community that's organized around the shared passion of being in the outdoors? I have to tell you that my point of view today is very different than it was when I joined. Two stories just to kind of get us kicked off. On my second week of work, this is on my bike ride to work. 21 miles from Mercer Island down to Kent, in the morning. That's Mount Rainier, for those of you that don't recognize it. It's breathtaking. If it's not raining, and it does rain in Seattle, we have this stunning view of Mount Rainier. And for someone that loves climbing mountains, it's truly inspirational. But it's kind of a symbol of how much was changing in my life. This picture is another symbol of what's changed in my life. And it really is about the relationship I have with our rank and file, the 10,000 associates that really make up REI. On a Friday morning in September, 8 of us gathered in the parking lot in our headquarters. Other than my head of strategy, every one of these roles is an entry-level position, a financial analyst, somebody, different roles. So we gathered at 7:30 in the morning, drove to Mount Rainier, climbed 5,000 feet, and set up camp, tents on a glacier, on the snow. Spent 3 hours making water, which is really fun. Took 3 hours to sleep, woke up at 1 o'clock, and began our ascent to the top of the mountain. This is taken at 7:30 in the morning as we summited Mount Rainier. And 6:30 that night, we finally got back to the parking lot where we immediately went for a beer and a burger. But needs to say, the relationship I have with the people I work with is fundamentally different today than it was in the balance of my experience. As I thought about speaking at this conference, I thought about the big theme, the idea of an amazing future of retail everywhere at once. And today I want to challenge us to think differently. I believe every retailer in this room is striving for state-of-the-art functionality. Pick your word, whether it's personalization, omni-channel, big data, the list goes on. Every retailer here is thinking about what it means to own customer relationships. What does it mean to really have that unique relationship with your customer? And how do you optimize that relationship? Many of the retailers in this room, and we've heard it repeatedly today, think about brand. And how do I tell that story? What are all the details associated with delivering a branded experience? I believe all those aspects are an important part of what we do as retailers, but here's the kicker. I don't think it's enough. What I've learned at REI and what I've discovered is the power of community. Being an integral part of a vibrant community, I think, is a competitive advantage that is really defensible almost in any scenario. The funny thing about community is they don't exist for us. We don't own them. We exist for them. What I'm going to talk about today is the shared passion of the outdoor community, the power of the values that unite it, and how we bring those values to life. Co-op as a business model means, by definition, that we're focused and we are working for our members, people who love to live a life outdoors. We do what they do. We love what they love. We spend our days scheming and dreaming about a life lived outdoors. The REI Co-op currently has 140 stores in 33 states. We have an e-commerce business that's just slightly less than 20% of our total volume. Our sales last year ended at $2.2 billion. We have 5.5 million members. And last year, and we have 10,000 employees. The numbers don't tell the whole story. Remember, we are a co-op, we work for our members. This statement is really important. We focus on shared values, not share value. That is a subtle difference, but it's a powerful difference if you think about it. Shared values, not share value. This next picture is actually taken by one of our members here in Arizona. And on it we've got really our mission statement, this idea to inspire, educate, and outfit for a lifetime of outdoor adventure and stewardship. Last night we heard about a student competition that really put retail concepts in the downtown streets of Tucson. And then we heard today about a phenomenally impressive restaurant chain that was started by someone that dropped out of college in their 20s. Guess what? There's a commonality here. In 1938, a bunch of 20-year-olds that belonged to a climbing club in Seattle called the Mountaineers got together and started the REI co-op. They borrowed $30, so it was a little less expensive to get into business back then. They went out and acquired an ice axe from Europe. And really the objective was, it was a new technology. They wanted to make it available to themselves, and they did it for their friends. So these 23 mountaineers with their friends created this cooperative and started buying gear and selling it to their friends and then splitting the profits. From that humble beginnings, we see really some long-term thinking and a commitment to community that has allowed REI to be successful over time. When I first asked someone to explain how does this model work, I was given this pretty straightforward explanation. It didn't have a heart in it the first time I saw it, but it was something like this. We sell great gear, we make some money, all the profits. Actually, last year it wasn't all, it was 75% of our operating profit. We give back to members. In addition, out of one of the ways we participate as a part of a vibrant outdoor industry is to consistently support nonprofits that focus on expanding access to amazing outdoor locations. So we fund the outdoors, and that benefits members, and that's kind of what the co-op's about. It felt a little too good to be true, and I have to tell you that I spent the first 6 months in my tenure, I still said yes, working with our board and working with our executive committee to say, what is success? It was an amazing conversation. One of the things about being in a cooperative structure is it allows us to embrace a broader definition of success than what I think we see in most typical publicly traded companies. I've come to believe this definition of success is really relevant for everyone that wants to step up and retail or service a particular community. We focus on 4 areas: members, what it means to serve our community; employees, what does it mean to be a great and inspiring place to work; our society; and business and traditional business measures. I want to start with member stories, what it means to be successful in that metric.
My first climb of Mount Rainier was with the Mountaineers climbing course in 1940, I believe. And then, of course, the next year I did it again with the climbers course. I don't know, I kept climbing it every summer, I think, after that.
This is carrying skis up to Camp Muir, and this picture was taken right there. I believe I've climbed it 29 times. That's the number that sticks in my mind. This was probably 1947, the first time I guided at Rainier. I can tell by the boots because we used the Army surplus boots that year. And here I am in my guide uniform.
Used to climb it just for fun. I have to say 1965, 6 or 7, probably 66. And gee, that's a long time. I haven't been up there since. Yeah, that kind of shocks me. I haven't climbed it since then. I'm waiting till my 90th birthday. Up until this year, I've tried to go to Tiger or something equivalent twice a week in the summer and fall and spring. And in the winter, I go once a week because I was skiing every week, too. The feeling I get when I go in the mountains looks good, and it feels good, and it makes me feel a lot better. Quiet, there are big, beautiful trees I'm surrounded by with sunlight coming through and dappling the ground. Just makes me feel good. Same way I feel when I'm on top of Crystal Mountain ready to take a ski run. I just like being in the mountains. And if you ski the groom, and if you don't ski fast, it's not much fun. So when I joined the REI in 1940, it was a pretty small organization. I knew the founders, Lloyd Anderson and Burge Bickford. They were sort of my mentors in the elementary climbing class. And it was a closely knit organization, so to speak. So every time you went into the store, which is very small, you almost certainly ran into people you knew. The REI has a special meaning for me, possibly because I've belonged so long. And it's if I need something for outdoor recreation, normally I don't even think about going somewhere else because I've always gone there, and I just have a sense of ownership, having been a member for as long as I have. I'm Chuck Welsh, and I'm member number 234.
Chuck is 89. I can tell you Tiger Mountain he was talking about has a climb of about 15,000 feet or 1,500 feet. So I'm looking forward when I'm 89 to being able to do that as well. We forge deep, lasting, lifelong relationships with our members. I've been told that I probably shouldn't show that Chuck video, that the nirvana today, the target should be to really develop relationships with millennials and younger customers. I disagree. I wanted to share this video with you and this picture with you, and I know they would hate it. These are 4 of our REI associates that work in the Clackamas, Oregon store. This is at a trailhead to climb Mount Hood. They're all in their 20s. They're amazing. I'm going to show you the picture they wanted me to show. This is them at the top. It looks much better. This is the one they show their friends. But yeah, they made the climb that day. But here's the story I want to tell you. As they got to that climb, it's a great climb. Takes some exertion. It's a beautiful day, what we call a bluebird day out there in Oregon. They got up there and they realized that a gentleman that was 70 years old had backpacked up carrying skis. And he loaded his skis on. He was skiing down. And he was going pretty slow. Well, they were glissading down. For those of you who don't know what glissading is down, I didn't know until I moved to Seattle. It means sitting on your butt and sliding down the mountain. And it can be pretty tricky if you're not careful. So they were sliding down the mountain, and they kept waiting for this older gentleman to kind of catch up with him just to make sure he made it off the mountain. They did this 5 or 6 times for about an hour. As they got to the bottom, they started talking. He asked them what they did, and they told him that they worked at REI. And he shared with them that 40 years ago, he too had been a green vest working at REI. And here's the image that I want to paint for you. Here's this guy, and he actually sent me a letter saying if all the REI associates are like these 4 kids, REI is in good hands. He's looking at these people and saying, that was me as a young man 40 years ago. And these kids, because I talked to them, said they looked at him and said, that's what I want to be when I'm 70 years old, packing skis up a mountain and skiing down. REI has this incredible generational spanning ability. We scheme, dream, and think about what it means to live outdoors, and it really spans all generations. Another way we engage members and judge our success is it's not all about selling. This is a site we call 1440 Project. It's an online experience that celebrates every minute of every day, 1440 minutes in a day. This is what was posted yesterday for Arizona. There'll be 17 photos uploaded during my talk. This week, there'll be 17,000 photos uploaded. Last year, we took 600 of these photos and put them on Instagram. For me, this is a daily opportunity to dream and scheme about what I want to do and where I want to do it. Amazing photography. I want to share this next picture with you because I just want you to see these all came out of 1440. These are the faces and sometimes feet of our members. These are the stories they want to tell. They want to tell us about what they're doing and where they're doing. And I find it incredibly aspirational and astonishing. And it has a draw and attraction in and of itself that's just very, very compelling. Beyond that, another way, and this is one of those things that as I started investigating REI, I've been doing business, been a member with REI for a long time. What I didn't know is REI is the largest purveyor of outdoor education in the United States. We have outdoor school in all of our physical locations. What you see on the left side of this is that outdoor school programs with yoga outdoor, paddling basics, climbing, snowshoeing. And in 2014, we put over 200,000 people through outdoor programs, teaching them things from, and our most popular course is teaching people how to ride a bike. We teach more adults how to ride a bike than anybody else in the United States. REI on the left is REI Adventures. We bring customers on trips of a lifetime. We've taken more than 9,100 customers on to 7 different continents and 40 different countries. If you want to make a trip to base camp of Everest, into Mexico, you name it, we've got that trip for you. Dreaming and scheming often for us really starts in our store's location. And one of the ways we engage with members is really coming alongside them in this effort. Like we did when we started the organization of finding great gear, on the left you see a display in our Seattle flagship where we're bringing a Ghost bike line out of Europe. It's a German-engineered mountain biking product, number 2 best-selling mountain bike in Europe, to the United States exclusively. It's an amazing product presented in an inspirational way. We just launched this in the last 30 days, and it's done incredibly well. In the center, what you see is our store in Dallas that we just relocated. We brought local artisans in, artifacts in, really to kind of make that place local and to make it their own. And another way members engage with us, you see this climbing wall in our Seattle store. And really it's about allowing members to come and do what they love, in our space. I love this picture. For those of you who don't know, this is what dreaming and scheming looks like. I wish this was my office. It might be a little longer commute. What we find is that you can walk into any one of our stores at any given time, and you're going to see someone with this same gaze on their face as they're staring at a backpack and imagining, or as they're staring at a kayak and thinking about a trip, or they're looking at a set of skis or some other piece of gear that will allow them to get outside and have a meaningful experience. I had a learning this year. I have 2 nieces that are attending University of Georgia in the Southeast. Don't know a lot about the Southeast. I'm a Big 12 guy and kind of struggle with the whole idea of the Southeast for some reason. But I learned that this is one of the number 1 college purchases today. And in case you haven't figured out, if you're a male in the room and you're in college, this will improve your social life. 3 or 4 kayaks, they're designed for more than 1 people, and a campfire, and you have community. But this idea of selling experiences and selling adventures is very much what we're about. The only thing I don't like about this picture is he doesn't look happy. So he's either got a better social life than I did at that point in my life. If I'd had a girl in a kayak hammock with me, I'd have been feeling pretty good about it. But here's the punchline. It's not enough to provide a good retail experience. You need to be an integral part of a vibrant community. At REI, as a co-op, we act in the best interest of our members, and this is in our DNA. The second measure of success for us is around our associates. The members are important, but our employees, by the way, which are all members, are the lifeblood to our community. They're inspiring, they're knowledgeable, they're fun to be with. Working with people that share your values and passion is inspiring, and they in turn inspire our members. We're proud to have been on the 100 Best Companies to Work For list for 18 straight years. That's every year since that list was first published. Yesterday I got an email. One of the things we do every year is we do an associate survey that goes to every associate in the company. So this year we sent out 10,000 associate surveys. We have an 80% participation rate, which is kind of crazy. 8,000 people responded. One response jumped out at me. Over 90% of the people responding indicated they were optimistic about the future of REI. I want you to think about that for a minute. This is an associate workforce that's enthusiastic, engaged, optimistic about what they're doing. What a powerful asset. Our store of the year last year was in Bend, Oregon. And one of the things I do when I go visit stores, and this is what I love about the job, is I go mountain biking, we go skiing, we go on a hike. In this instance, we went mountain biking. I probably had 15 associates from the store. We all went out mountain biking. We were going too fast. This guy was probably the best athlete, so he hit the pothole first and did an awesome face plant. There was dirt everywhere. The bike flipped over him. We thought he had lost some teeth, but we realized they were just covered with dirt. And so we soon figured out he had an awesome red beard, that he wasn't hurt, so then we all took pictures with him, in his state of disarray. You see the thumbs up there. This is the kind of stuff we live for. Before I even got back to Seattle, the picture and the story was all over campus. These are the stories we love. These are the things we do together. And this is what it means to kind of share our contagious passion for the outdoors. This next picture is it was a piece that we did as a part of our brand work, and we were really looking for an image that reflected our view of who we were. This is an REI Outdoor Guides, one of our outdoor programs people. He works in Oregon, and he had taken a van full of people up to do a bike ride down from a pass, and it just started to rain. He looks much better than this shaved. I've met him. He's actually not a bad-looking guy. But just the joy and just it's starting to rain. He's not hanging his head. He's just embracing that moment. Our internal view, the way we look at ourselves, and this really sprung out of some branding work we're doing as inspired guides. We're not there to sell anybody product. We're there to come alongside them and be a part of their journey as they think about an experience and dream and scheme about what they want to do when they go outside. Another example of this that was phenomenally well received and I think powerful for us this year is around this idea of living up to your values, allowing people to live authentic lives that are consistent with the brand. One of the ways we do this, and I'm proud of it, is we're helping make it easier for employees to live a life outside. We have a lot of people working at an hourly rate. So for every employee in the organization, whether it's full-time or part-time, we gave them 2 paid days off to go out and be outside, no strings attached. We call them Yay Days. We generate this incredible flow of pictures and content. These are just 5 pictures from this. And I also saw we have an internal blog posted about 3 weeks ago. 2 of our associates used their Yay Day to actually get engaged. This is a really powerful way of doing the right thing for our employees. It's the right thing for our employees. It's the right thing for our business. But when you cut through it, it's about training. It's about getting people outside using gear. It's community building. It's doing things together. It's reinforcing the love for the outdoors. And the people that benefit most from this are our associates and then our members from that. As they engage with a set of associates that are passionate about what they do, they know what's going on the ski slopes, they've been on the trail, and they're inspired to share that with the memberships that walk in. Again, here's the cut to the chase line. It's not enough to help customers. You need to love what they love and do what they do. We are passionate about the outdoors, and we love to share it. We are inspired guides. This is our job. Our third measure is really around society. And this is something that I think we do incredibly well at REI. We think bigger about our community, including what impact we have on the places we live and play. And we think about what does success look in that. We can't dream and scheme if there's nowhere to play, and it's as simple as that. So when we say we believe that a life outdoors is a life well lived, we believe it's our job to put the infrastructure in place to make that pursuit possible. This is a photo of a nonprofit we work with. These are actual REI associates in Alaska clearing a trail. It's single-track advocates working on clearing a trail outside of Anchorage, Alaska. The video I'm going to share with you highlights another amazing way that we touch and allow people to really bridge from urban into the outdoor community. We got a little bit dirty. It's a little bit wet and snowy out here today. So we had a chance to go out and ride on the Trinity Strand Trail. I particularly love the idea of bike trails and kind of outdoor experiences in an urban environment. So many people today are in urban environments, and that ability to have the opportunity to get outside is just amazing. So I applaud this. We're thrilled to be a part of it. I love that there's this passion for nonprofits and volunteers to agree and gather to do this. This trail will be here forever, and it'll just get better and better and better, and it'll be here for generations. So I think the pioneering of developing this trail, it's a gift that keeps giving. The video is one example of work that we've done with local nonprofits. In 2014, we invested in 300 local nonprofits, touching 600 local places in the country, building trails, improving waterways, and more. This is really kind of consistent with our values and ethics, and what you see here on this screen really is 3 other of those places that we impacted and touched over the course of the year. We've had a great year, and as we look to the future, we're really in a position to invest another $5.9 million in maintaining outdoor spaces, and we're making another $2.3 million of one-time grants out of the foundation. And this year we'll spend over $8 million touching those outdoor places that we all care and love. It's not just about giving money. This is a picture of an Anderson Award event where we bring associates from every store across the United States, from our distribution center, and from our home offices. And this is below a manager level. This is a manager and below level in our organization. So these are our frontline troops. We spent an afternoon out there doing community service. You can see it's about getting sweaty, dirty, and in just doing life together. This was the highlight of the week, is getting out there and working in a park, cleaning that park up and making it a more accessible place. It's clear to me that looking outward to the health of the environment and the impact we have on it, that it's critical. It's the right thing to do. Our members expect it, and it strengthens our community. It's not enough to take care of your own business. You need to take care of the broader community. We believe success demands changing how limited natural resources are used, expanding access to inspirational places. This is our worldview. I think it's important to get to the last one. This is the measures that I think we'd be used to talking about business success. This is a picture of our Denver store. It's stunning. It's inspirational. And I have to say that as we look at our 4th measure of success, our flywheel is turning, and we've had a great year. It's been a record year. Our sales are $2.2 billion, which is up 10%. Members were up to 5.5 million active members. We added 950,000 members this year. Dividends, $168 million. It's an increase of 6.7 over last year. In new stores, we opened 7. We've got momentum as we move into 2015. Our sales are running up 22%. Members, year to date, year over year, active, we're up 14%. Year over year, new is up 23%. Comp stores, plus 7. Digital is plus 20. The enthusiasm level, I think, in our organization is really at an all-time high. It's just that love of getting outdoors, embracing what we're doing, kind of really getting back to the heart of what the co-op was about, and it's been an amazing year. I'd be remiss if I didn't, hope this didn't go fast. If I didn't really point out that we're doing some retail stuff. We're building a 3rd distribution center. It's less than an hour from here, just outside of Tucson. We launched, and we have live right now, store inventory fulfillment. This is buy online and pick up in store. It's been a big deal. Early months, it was almost 10% of our store volume. Big numbers. Our customers love it. We're aggressively going after regionalization. When you have stores in Anchorage, Alaska, and you have stores in Tucson, what it means to get outside is very different. And we're really going after that aggressive on a regionalization strategy. We're editing to amplify. We're really digging in and understand where we need to really be in stock at all times and how do we distort dollars to that. We're in the midst of a site redesign to really rethink how do we deliver content to our members. We've been elevating the customer experience. We completely changed the way we're doing visual merchandising and storytelling in our store environments. And a part of that is we pursued a product launch strategy where we're really able to bring unique first-to-market items in the outdoor industry and make them available to our members first and only, and tell those amazing stories online. The most recent example of that is an Osprey pack that is, I think, a game changer from a technology standpoint. We launched it first, members only, to our members, only available at REI, and we sold everything they've made. I think they're making more aggressively, and when that gets in, we'll continue to sell it. So just an amazing set of retail fundamentals that we've been embracing to drive the organization. The great retailing is more than transactions. It's more than mechanics. It's about connecting what you stand for as a business to the heart of a community that cares about the same things. It's finding a compelling idea for your business and growing that community. not just of customers, but people who stand for and love the same things that you do. Have a big idea and put community at the heart of it. When you're truly serving your community, when it all adds up, we can make powerful change in the world. I want to lead with evidence of what happens when strong communities, particularly in this instance, the outdoor industry, comes together and expresses their shared values. This is something we've chosen to do to strengthen our industry, and it's a powerful example of what true community can do.
I am Jill Layfield, CEO of Backcountry.
I'm Dan Nordstrom, CEO of Outdoor Research.
I'm Donna Carpenter, President of Burton Snowboards.
I'm Jim Kelly, President of Sports and Leisure Trends for the NPD.
I'm Doug Walker.
I am Sally McCoy.
I am Mark Sackwitz,
CEO of
President
Camelback.
and General Manager of Smart.
I'm Andy Clerman, President of Active Interest Media.
I'm Todd Spoleto, President of the North Face, and I commit to promote opportunities for women within our company.
I, Pat Canan, CEO of Advanced Sports, Fuji Bikes, commit to promote opportunities for women within our company.
To promote opportunities for women.
Opportunities for women
within our company.
And I commit to promote opportunities for women within our company.
We love being outside
And being active.
And we treasure the places we play.
This is what connects us.
This is what connects us.
We're an innovative
We
industry.
are an innovative industry that
welcomes all.
Our shared passion,
Purpose,
as well as our differences.
are what makes us an innovative industry.
We are not willing to settle for the status
We're not
quo.
willing to settle for the status quo.
We're not willing to settle
for the status quo.
I am Jerry Strizke, CEO of REI. Please join me and my colleagues in our commitment to unleash the potential of women leaders within our companies. We are an innovative industry that welcomes all. We are not willing to settle for status quo. Please join us in our efforts to transform the outdoor industry.
Please join us
Please join us in our efforts
to transform the outdoor, snow, bike, and run industry.
Please join us in our efforts.
Please join us in our efforts to transform the outdoor industry.
Proud to be at REI, and I'm proud to be a part of the outdoor industry. So let me open it up for questions. I think we have a few minutes left.
Over here.
Okay, the lights are really bright.
Good afternoon. Coming from coach to REI, even you had clearly a passion for the outdoors. How did you spend your first 90 days as a leader in REI?
I was fortunate. I made the transition the first day in October, so I had 3 months to really watch the business. It wasn't a time to tinker with it. And really just spent an enormous amount of time on the road, in stores, listening, observing, talking to as many people as I could. Met every prior CEO. There's been 7 CEOs, 6 are still alive. Spent time with them talking about what was at the heart of REI, what they were passionate about. And so just a lot of listening. And really believe that the story of REI was phenomenally amazing, and that and the stories around REI were so amazing, and we just need to do a better job embracing them and telling those stories. And I had a gifted set of passionate associates working with me. You saw Susan, she's an amazing merchant. And so that really helped kind of just jumpstart the business and really get going.
Jerry, I'm proud to serve with Brad Brown on a board, and you've made some serious investments in digital. Can you talk a little more about that, not just about digital from an e-commerce perspective, but cross-channel, or whether you use the word omni-channel, but it seems pretty serious. And what's your strategy there?
Yeah, Brad Brown leads our digital practice, and he's an amazing leader, a great deal of respect for him. We're really looking at our entire content strategy and what is the dialogue we want to have with our employees. And what we call a green vest experience. When you walk into a store, and for those of you that have, or REI members have had that experience, often the first question you get is, what are you doing? Where are you going? And how do we engage with you on that? We're really trying to step up to that challenge in the digital space and really be present and be a part of the life lived outdoors with our members. And so we're in the middle of a pretty significant repositioning. Even year over year, if you go back on the Wayback Machine and look at what we were putting on our site a year ago to what it looks like today, we're in motion. We've really seen that take even early stages. We have a significant launch that we're going to relaunch in November. And we have other stuff in the pipe that I really not in a position to talk about today. But I think you'll see REI try to reinvent what digital really means in a community environment for an organization like REI as we move into the future. So we're really excited about it, and we think that it'll be very differentiated from what you've seen in the past. I actually believe that's one of the biggest opportunities for all brands to step up to. If you put your product page up there and look at it compared to an Amazon product page, if you can't tell it's a different and it's a brand, you got a problem. So I think it's a huge opportunity for almost everyone in the retail business. I still got 2 minutes. I can probably do one more.
Jerry, Sean Harris over here on your left-hand side from Zebra Technologies. So a lot of companies that are in the, if you will, like fitness space are looking at how they can leverage, user data, fit bands to give them insights, give them, more precise targeting. How are you guys looking at maybe leveraging that data? I can already, in my mind, imagine you having something called the Sherpa that, is the aid to, your outdoors members. So how are you guys looking at using that sort of data?
I have to confess, that was one of the things that you kind of lick your lips on when you walk into the business, and 80% of your sales, 88% of your sales are to members for 7 or 8 years. That's a pretty good wealth of insight and information. The opportunity really is looking forward. You mentioned the fitness industry. Actually, what we've discovered, it's one of our fastest growing subjects. Everyone that's really engaged in the outdoor in a serious way trains for that outdoor experience. So those iconic experiences. And then those that aren't, it's about being fit long enough in life that you can continue to do the things that are important to you. So we actually find our customer base is phenomenally focused on fitness, and it's a category that we can speak to pretty effectively. So our insights, obviously, as you might imagine, allow us to do a lot of personalization into the e-commerce space or email strategies. One of the things that's been most impressive to me, and I've been in retail a long time, and it still blows me away, every store opening I've been to since I've been there, and I've opened probably 5 stores, and the first store I showed up was in Oregon, or it was in Washington, so it was a place we had a pretty dense penetration. There were 500 people standing in line 2 hours before we opened. And when they stand in line, they're talking about my REI. This is going to be their REI. We opened, in my time, I've opened 2 markets. They're brand new, Columbus, Ohio, and another one in Kentucky. In both of those places, I had over 700 people in line before we got there. And the truth is, we had relationships with tens of thousands of members in those communities. We invited them to member-only events the evenings before and leading up to those openings. So that data really allows us to do many things. probably most important of which, have a very direct relationship with our members about what they love to do. So it is clearly an opportunity, and as technology continues to advance, we're able to do more and more with it. One more question?
Jerry, you didn't mention customer service. I thought that when I say customer service, I thought the best PR that I've seen was in the movie Wild, where she returned the boots that are the wrong size and she gets them sent back from REI. I don't know if you, I mean, I thought that was just marvelous. She may have been over-outfitted in terms of the start of the route, but in any case,
it helps that it's a true story too, though. Yeah. No, it was pretty amazing. And when you start getting cast in movies as kind of an outdoor authority, and that's a pretty powerful place to be. We don't know if it's a coincidence or not. Our women's business is trending up about 10, 15 points higher than our men's business right now. And, you know, when you get to the heart of that movie, it's about, you know, redemption through an outdoor experience. And that's so consistent with the value and the ethos of what REI is about. So in some respects, just hearing, having that kind of an inspirational story be told, REI be connected with that, you know, and that comfort level of being able to come into one of our stores and have someone engage with you and allow you to begin to, you know, step into a new stage of your life is a very powerful testimony. So we certainly enjoyed the mention. So thank you, everybody.